So I kind of gave a rough reason why I picked this during Two Cents. If you guys don't listen to that show, please do. We just celebrated the 1 year anniversary. Did you know what this was? Did you see it on Netflix or anything, or
I've
was my pick a surprise?
it was a surprise in that you picked it, but
Uh,
no, I had not seen it before, and I knew it was a Stephen Sommers film. I
yeah.
just didn't realize like until now that this was 3 years old. Like I swear it came out. I thought it came out last year.
I think it was added to Netflix last year, and that's when it really came on my radar. And they had like a
Yeah,
pretty good image on there, so I was like, "Huh, I'll check this out eventually."
like
Like
on the
I almost
Wikipedia
watched it.
page, it
Hmm.
tanked apparently.
Yeah, and the critics didn't like it either. But I almost watched this last Halloween during my thing. But yeah, I basically, I picked this because of the untimely passing of Anton Yelchin, and it was my pick this week. And I knew I had to pick something of his, whether it be this or Burying the X, or one of the things that I hadn't seen over the last couple of years. And this was the one. And like you said, it's also a Stephen Sommers movie, and I am kind of interested in his filmography, at least post The Mummy.
Hmm.
Well, that's all I really got. Welcome to Cinema. I'm Brian Gillis.
And I'm Stephen Maltmanex.
Like most people, we love going to the theater and catching latest releases. However, sadly, put a big dent in your wallet.
Fortunately, living in the digital age makes the viewing possibilities endless from the comforts of home.
Many of these films that you can see right from your couch, we're ashamed to say we miss, despite labeling ourselves cinephiles.
So join us as one or both of us cross off a title from our list of shame,
It can be an all-time essential classic.
or an underrated piece of cinema that's worth giving a shot.
Hell, it might just be some trashy film we want the other's opinion on. So sit tight and join us as we pay off our debts, $1 at a time.
Ladies, my name is Odd Thomas. Lord knows. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not the child of a celebrity. I've never been married to, abused by, or provided a kidney to a celebrity. But I do lead an unusual life. I found a gateway to hell.
Get out of there, Audie.
Been communing with the dead.
It's not about who's dead, sir. It's about who soon might be.
So just to add on to what you were saying in that intro there, yeah, this obviously this ties in with the untimely passing, but watching this movie, like just the all this talk about death in like the first 10 minutes, you got lines like where he's telling the little girl, "Sorry your life was so short," and he's saying it so earnestly on screen. That hurt. Then seeing a Bodak running over a guy with a truck, like, which it wasn't Anton Yelchin, but it was his friend. Still, that kind of hurt. And then later on, you
The
get.
fucking ending.
I mean, not just that. Like, this movie also has a shooting spree, and we're seeing this, which is part of the main plot. We're seeing this like right after the largest mass killing spree in American history.
That's
Fuck,
not
this is
that's not accurate.
okay.
American
Well,
American Revolution, or it's the largest mass shooting in
mass- yeah.
contemporary culture.
Okay, well, it's still a pretty big deal. Fuck, is this bad timing? This movie.
I think it's good timing for those
I mean,
reasons, though.
yeah, like for the I'm not happy about it, is what I'm saying. Like it is very odd. Pun not intended. I'm gonna try to limit my use of that word throughout.
The movie uses it enough as it is.
Oh yeah,
But the ending here, like, yeah, the truck hitting someone and the guns blazing and police brutality, I guess you could say too.
and
All
this
that
is
stuff
yeah,
aside,
it's supposed to be so goofy and lighthearted. At the same time, it's like it's just kind of eerie watching this now. But that's not a mark against the movie.
well, that's not what I was gonna say. It's just the ending. That this film has a really shitty voiceover narration. That's not saying like Anton Yelchin does a bad job. It's fine. It's just it doesn't require one. It kind of makes sense the further you get in the movie towards the end. It really makes sense. But his closing line right before you get that final shot of Las Vegas, where he's like, "If I have an average life, I'll live 60 more years." But I'm a patient man and have much to do. And I started like welling up a little bit. I was like, "You, what the fuck is this?" Like it was a total slap to the face. As this, this isn't a great film. I'd hardly say it's even good, but Anton Yelchin, like his performance here, it elevates it from being kind of just, dollar bargain bin movie trash to being pretty entertaining.
I mean, yeah, this is the definitive airplane movie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have many reasons to watch this. You probably don't have any at all, but if you have like two or three choices on an airplane, which I mean that's ridiculous because you always get options, but there are still airplanes where you
Yeah,
don't. And
Southwest gives you the one movie, I think.
Southwest, you can watch cable off Wi-Fi, but there are airplanes where they still have that TV overhead that everyone has
Yeah.
to look at. And if this is one of the ones that are on there, then you will not be bored, and you will forget that you're sitting on a plane just impatiently in some comfortable seat as you're trying to get to wherever it is you're going. And I think it's really fun, actually. It's very goofy. Like I can see how the voiceover is off-putting, and especially just the style of the writing, the way everyone talks, and how just
So fucking weird
out there,
and campy.
yeah, some of the things are in this, but I dug it, really.
Yeah, I dug it too. I know you haven't seen The Frighteners, but this seemed like the CW made for TV version of that film.
I read a couple things on there, but I mean, my main connection with this was like, I thought, okay, this is sort of the unofficial sequel to The Sixth Sense. Like, this is what that kid could be doing when he grew up.
No, more so Frighteners.
I'll take that. I still have to see it.
I'm just saying, like, besides, that being a Peter Jackson film, like, straight down to Michael J. Fox using his ghost abilities to, like, prevent, like, a travesty. Except that one is more grounded, and it's a lot more funny. And I think that's the main problem with this film. It's not the plot, it's not the dialogue, which is also kind of shitty. Like, Stephen Sommers adapted this screenplay from a Dean Koontz novel. It's that guy that makes, like, 5 books a year. He's like the Stephen King for people that have low taste or whatever. I don't know. I've never read one of his books. I've just seen the name, and it's like, that has to be a pen name. Like, your name is Koontz. Good God.
Honestly, though, like, I mean, yeah, everyone's praising Anton Yelchin now after the fact because
they
he's
have
gone
to.
now. But like, in all fairness, like, he does carry the movie, and you buy like it. Even if after the fact I'm thinking, what? Yeah, the writing is not that great, and the language is kind of weird. He sells it, and honestly, Addison Timlin, they both sell it, and they have this kind of it's funny.
Hate her.
Really?
She looked like the knockoff version of Nina Dobrev from The Vampire Diaries.
Okay,
You
see,
can't even say that because she's not on that show anymore.
It's funny that we're releasing this right after doing The Thin Man, because I thought they had a really cool sort of Nick and Nora banter where, while there's this other like plot line going in the movie, they have this relationship where they're just very casual and they're just kind of going through the motions. It's this other big thing is happening, and I really dug it, honestly.
I didn't mind the dialogue or the banter. I dug the chemistry. For the performance that Anton gives rather, I couldn't and won't buy her as his longtime love interest. Like, been in love since they were like 8 years old.
No,
By the way,
this
that
movie just brings up like it does so many weird things like that throughout that there's just a certain point where you have to accept it. Like,
no, I don't have to accept
this
it.
This is just that world. This is like
that you have an accomplished director is adapting a novel from a best-selling author. You have a great young star or almost star in it. You got some great, co-stars like Willem Dafoe. The guy who played Emotep gets a little cameo, which I did laugh out loud at. Like, there aren't necessarily bad people around him, and you get the other person who gets the spotlight, and it's just like almost everyone else in the film besides the cops I really bought into, and I wish they cast someone who could act better than they looked, because she's obviously sex appeal. She does look good in her little skimpy outfits. Like, but I'm going, why the fuck would she be with him? I am a weird guy. That doesn't happen to me. I don't have no.
Because this is a fantasy, Brian. I mean, come on. Everything in this movie defies the laws of physics. No one cooks pancakes like that.
I want to believe they do. I hope
it's a fantasy. I would love to believe it too, and I would love to believe that girls like that end up with guys like him. But unfortunately, we don't live in that reality. That's the beauty of movies, though, is that we can see what that fantasy looks like.
I guess. I think this would have made a really great TV show. And I say that a lot on this show, and it's a movie that I don't particularly enjoy. But I like the characters. I like the world building. I like some of the elements. It seemed like it was kind of thrown together really quick because it had a hour and a half runtime. Like, I'm sure the book is a bigger length. Like, maybe it's like 500 pages or something, and it probably reads well. Like, I'm not interested in, because I saw this for Anton Yelchin. The story isn't that great. But I would, I doubt it's going to happen, but say MTV or the CW made this into a show, I think it would be pretty entertaining. I think it would be fun.
I mean, it's funny. Like, this is very low budget. I'm sure, obviously,
It
compared to
isn't
Stephen
though.
Summers' other works, but like, it doesn't feel small. I don't know what the budget is actually. I should probably look that
I'm
up.
gonna guess
It's
it's like in the 40 million range.
actually no, 27 million. Okay, so that's actually higher than normal for a movie like with. I mean, with this small of a crew and like the
You
production
can
companies behind it, I doubt
just
anyone's getting big paychecks. Maybe it went all to Stephen Summers and Willem Dafoe and
no, it
Anton
went to the
Yelchin, but
CG, man. Like those whatever the fuck they're called, I
those
can't remember.
Bodaks, I think they look
They
pretty
look
good.
good,
Like,
yeah. They looked
yeah, I
really
mean,
good, especially when you have a lot of them on screen at once.
yeah,
Plus
it's.
the
I mean,
I
they
think
are rendered in like a very
yeah, the
cheap way if you want to look at
transparent,
it.
yeah.
But the way that they interact with everything that's going on, like they feel threatening, and that it's also a compliment to the sound too. I mean, the sound for this movie. I don't know if you had your headphones. I'm guessing.
Nope.
No.
Nope, didn't care to.
Well, I mean, no. It never feels cheap, even if at first glance it looks it, and you believe that they are there in the frame with them, and it works really well.
No, yeah, all of the CG here is really great,
Well, yeah, I
especially
mean,
the
even
transitions. It kind of took me out because they were so quick and loose towards the beginning, but they did some really cool like rendering to make the transitions work. Like they'd walk past a lamppost and it would like fade in, or the way that fortune teller, the what was it called, like the fortune mummy lady or whatever, the way that like that's introduced. Just really cool, like real quick and snappy, like seems very contemporary. I mean, it makes sense. It's only,
yeah.
2.5, 3 years old.
But there is a car also that blows up that I had to rewind back and be like, wait, is this practical or is it CG? Because I don't think they have the money to get something real, and it's actually it's CG like to me, but it looks really convincing, except for of course the flame, which
Like I said, most of this film is convincing besides the
yeah.
acting. I mean, Willem Dafoe, he's always good, and Anton
Willem
Yelchin,
Dafoe is just being Willem Dafoe, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's cool. Like I mean, just
T-Bone Pickens.
I think like yeah, this movie like it is very unbelievable. Like right off the bat, like things do seem kind of ridiculous and goofy, and so if you're not willing to suspend your disbelief and just go with it at a certain point, then no, you're not gonna be digging this movie.
Look,
And I could totally see how it's off-putting, but I was on board with it throughout.
I went in. This thing's called Odd Thomas. Like I had a feeling that it wasn't gonna be the most surreal film I've ever seen. But even still, like one of my notes right here, like the first notes are, yeah, I already talked about, like Anton Yelchin and Stephen Summers, Dean Koontz, like cool CG transitions, and then I go down a little bit more. I'm like, lots of slow mo. The next point is horrible cops. Turns out that's really important to the story. But like as soon as the cops come on screen, I'm like, they couldn't cast someone that was convincing as a cop. Like it seems so fucking fishy. I guess I've seen enough like sleuth movies or something, which is that's what this is. Like it's kind of, I think it was marketed more as a suspenseful like little like horror film, but this is totally like a teen like suspense mystery. I like that angle it has, because most of the film you think it's kind of cut and dry, and it keeps on going. Like there's a lot of red herrings which don't feel like a waste of time. Like you buy into it in the same way that Odd does. Like you really believe in. Like I said, that's why the further I got into it, I understood the narration angle, because he is a detective. He's a supernatural one, or a paranormal
it's really
one rather.
fun to see how it all unfolds. Like this is not a who done it. This is a who's gonna do it. And just with the clock ticking, I was really. Like, the last one, yeah, I complained about the mystery not being that interesting and Thin Man, but this is like the opposite for me. Is like I like this angle. It's in a very Minority Report way of like, hey, some bad's gonna happen, I'm gonna stop it. Like that's exciting for me to watch.
Yeah, I never got, well, I was kind of bored in the beginning, but I was never bored like you. Like it held my attention really well, despite it being not. It's basically a B movie with some A-level talent on it. Like Stephen Summers, he made the first two Mummy reboot movies, did Van Helsing, G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
Yeah.
Like his last couple of films besides this one, I don't even know why. Is he in director jail? Like I still understand why they didn't bring him back for the third Mummy movie. I'm happy because
don't know. But
Rise of them.
That third Mummy movie is a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a shit fest. So good news that he avoided that. But why didn't they bring him back for the second G.I. Joe movie? What's he doing now? Like I looked it up. I don't even know the name of it right now. When Worlds Collide, it just sounds like it's gonna be bad. Like is he in jail? Like.
I don't know. I don't know what he does, and there was like 5 years in between Van Helsing and G.I. Joe also.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with that. I mean, they weren't like insane hits or anything, but they weren't flops
The
either. I mean,
Mummies were
GI Joe did well enough to get a
to make a
sequel.
sequel, yeah. Well,
So
like a reboot sequel.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess because there was a lot of fan backlash, even though there's a lot of people, myself included, that really dug that movie for what it is.
Yeah, same. For being, an adaptation of a toy slash
Yeah.
like TV like cartoon
I
from
mean,
the
it's
80s.
yeah. Instead of like the more Call of Duty looking sequel that they made or tried to make, like no, that first one was a live action cartoon and it was fun.
I really hope. I mean, it's not going to happen. But I hope Universal taps him to come back and do something in their monster universe, since he kind of single-handedly made that a viable universe in the first place.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely.
But back to this movie, that use of slow-mo, I'm really happy it kind of
Oh,
died off. But there was so fucking much of it in those first, what, like 10,
That
15
was my
minutes?
that was my first thought in the opening. Is I thought you were gonna ask me that. Like, does the
No.
speed ramping bother you,
No,
Steven?
no, because it bothered me.
Yes,
It's going to
it
definitely
did
bother
bother
you.
me, yeah.
Because I do like that about this film. It starts right away. Like, it uses the narration to get over, like, the origin character and all that stuff. And you get right into the story. Like, 2 minutes in, the movie's already started. There's a chase scene in the first 5 minutes. And it's not a bad one either. That, like, whole action sequence really sets up this character and his world and his powers and how they work and, like, his role with the police force and all of these things. But, oh my fucking god. Like, they couldn't use enough slow-mo. It was like...
It's
Imagine
one of
if
those
Guy
things where
Ritchie-
low-budget movies always just kind of show that off, like to make things seem, I don't know, bigger than they really should be, probably because that's all they have. At least, I don't know. I feel like that's the trend with lower-budget movies, like or especially when I see indie filmmakers do it, when they slow shit down, and I have nothing interesting to look at. Or I don't know. I mean, I hate how digital cinematography just makes it so easy to do this now.
But they do some cool stuff with, like, shifting, I don't know if it was lenses, but just, like, the format almost. I don't know. I can't really explain it. There's, like, one or two instances, usually when he's, like, within that hell portal, or whatever the fuck it is, where it kind of, like, goes from anamorphic to like, I don't know. Like, it
Does it switch the ratio?
I don't know if it switches the ratio necessarily, but it totally, like, fucked with my head. It was kind of like when they're zooming in while tracking
It's like
backwards.
a dolly pullback.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was something like that where I was just like, huh, that's really cool, and yet at the same time, why the fuck did he do that? It's a minor thing. I mean, that was at least kind of cool versus, oh, I'm gonna get into a fight just like in that Sherlock Holmes Guy Ritchie movie. I'm just gonna slow it down and talk about how, I love my face, so I learned how to fight, and then, like, beat his ass up with a lamp. Like, it was so lame. Like, the first, and it's a shame. It wouldn't make sense if the whole film was like that, but since it's just the beginning, it was like the pilot for a TV show. It was like, we're gonna get them really interested in these first couple of minutes, and then we're gonna change the entire movie after that. It's just a bizarre filmmaking choice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I expected to hate it because of that, but then once it was gone, I honestly
It was
stopped
good,
thinking
yeah.
about it. And I mean, I did not think too deeply watching this movie. Like, I really didn't, because it really was just a simple distraction for 90 minutes, and it was fun for that. And I think, like, airplane movie is the best way I can describe it, because, if you want to watch something that moves fast, that doesn't bore you, and that just doesn't require you to really think that much, even though, it's not stupid either. It's really kind of cool how some of these things all add up. But yeah, I mean, this is just, I think, a good time on a small scale. Like, I don't know if maybe this would have been more fun actually with an audience, with the right crowd,
Maybe
especially
not.
here.
I
don't
think
know. Like, then again, I didn't miss it either, and it's just, it's something where if I saw, if I was, not that we watch cable anymore, or at least I
Some
don't,
people do.
but like, let's say if I was watching, I don't know, FX or something, and I just watched, an episode of Archer that I liked, and then they go, and then next is Odd Thomas. It's one of those things
I'll
where I'll
watch
just be
20
like,
minutes. Yeah,
I'll
sure.
stick for 20 minutes, but then I would keep going with it, and, I'd have fun with it. And yeah, this is just, it doesn't make that big of an impression. I mean, this episode is probably going to be one of the ones where I'm just going to look at it and be like, Odd Thomas, what the fuck is that? I don't remember seeing a movie called Odd Thomas. But I mean, yeah, this is fun, simple entertainment. It's not gonna make that big of an impression on you, though.
I probably really would have liked it if it was a funnier movie, because there is rather a good amount of humor, especially like we said in the dialogue.
Like, it's
However,
got charm, but I mean,
yeah,
it's definitely not making you
it's not
laugh.
funny. I did laugh though. I laughed like 3 or 4 times, which is not a norm for me with a movie like this. But most of the laughs I had were when Anton was by himself, like when he was on screen alone, kind of doing like self-deprecation humor or like telling himself how stupid he is. And whenever there was an ensemble or a cast around him, it kind of just sucked it up. Like, as much as you might have liked the girlfriend, whose name is Stormy, by the way. Like, Odd and Stormy. That's the weirdest couple matching ever.
I just accepted it as like
When
right
I
off the
think
bat. This movie's
no,
called Odd Thomas. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm willing to accept it. Like
when I think
right
Stormy, I
away.
think Stormy McDaniel's, like the porn star, was in that Pirates movie, like the biggest budget for a porno ever. Um, I take that back. I think the 3D one from India was higher. But like I said, if they casted her better, and I went through her IMDb, I've seen her before. She was a recurring character on a whole season of Californication, one of the final ones. If they had a better lead opposite of him, I think it would have been a really good movie. But I think the casting director just went, she looks really good in short shorts. Fuck it.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's. I mean, if we can go back to the ending now, because I guess we're getting to the close of this
Yeah.
episode. I mean, yeah, I did well up too. Actually, in fact, I don't know. Like, you've seen Brothers Bloom, right?
Yeah, oh, I don't remember it well, but yeah, I
I
saw it.
mean, I like this is exactly how I remember Brothers Bloom. Is like it's the experience is kind of similar in that, hey, this is kind of odd, goofy fun, and there's some really fun stylized dialogue in here. Although with Bloom, I
And
think
it gets real fucking emotional
yeah,
out of
it's much
nowhere.
more legitimately good. Yeah, but I mean, Brothers Bloom then packs like just an emotional wallop in there, and
Oh wait, doesn't no, I don't want to talk. I'll say it off air because I don't want to ruin that. It's
oh
not even
yeah,
that
no,
episode.
no. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it definitely like that also resonates with me. And I mean, the score for Brothers Bloom, by the way, like that last track, that's something I have on my iPod. Like it's not one of my favorite movies, but for some reason I still think about that movie often. But yeah, like this ending just hit me in a similar way, where it's like, yeah, it's a good movie, and yet it still earned that emotional beat, despite the fact that I don't think these other things, they didn't wow me. They're not entirely strong, and yet. It's funny that you say that it works for you. I mean, like as well. I'm assuming that we are like it's not just that final line, but everything that came before it.
Yeah,
Like,
the like 10 or 15 minutes after the third act kind of ends,
yeah, I mean, it's just like, and I mean, yeah, I guess the
or
argument
during
could
the
be
third
made
act,
that's
rather.
not necessarily for her, but that's for
That's
for
everything.
him.
Yeah.
Because you like just that for him it's going to be that difficult. Like, but yeah, I mean, shit, like that. I really do wish I could give this movie more, like especially when I see an ending like that is just that good, because like it totally earned it for me at that point. I had a good time, and I wasn't necessarily blown away or anything, but that's enough
Yeah,
usually to make something resonate. It's like, oh hey, if you're having a good time and you're sticking along with something, then it can still fucking devastate you at the end.
I'm not going to recommend this movie to anyone. I'm not going to recommend it to our listeners. But if you are mourning Anton Yelchin, like most of the world is right now, you should watch it. Like, yeah, most people have seen Star Trek or Charlie Bartlett or Green Room, perhaps, or actually not enough people have seen that. And he does have a good amount of great films. And then he has lesser ones like this and House of D, which is really interesting. It's him and Robin Williams, and it's directed by David Duchovny. That I can't recommend it, but you should check it out. Like, they're not the same, but they kind of are. It's on Netflix. Like, I'm gonna probably watch Burying the X in the next couple of days.
I like this movie. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I can't, that's the thing, is that I knew watching it that there's just certain people I know that would hate this movie right off the bat. So I'm not going to say you should see it, but I would say, like, at least give it a chance and just see if you can stick with it. And,
I think you'll enjoy it if you stick
yeah.
with it, like I did, like you did. Like,
I
it
mean,
is a very enjoyable cliche movie.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like, whenever we watch something, there are movies where, sometimes you go in hyped and you expect great things out of them, but then there's just those movies where you just want to watch something and you don't necessarily care what it is, and you just want to be entertained for an hour and a half, and this is it,
It's
So,
totally
I mean,
it.
I think this one's it's worth giving a shot.
I, I wouldn't buy it for $1 in the scheme of the show, but like I said at the very
No,
beginning,
yeah.
if I was at Walmart and I was looking through the dollar bin and this was in there, I would probably consider it. Like I'd pick it up, look at the special features. If it had something like a commentary with Anton Yelchin, yeah, I'd buy it. Like,
I was at Walmart today,
mm-hmm.
actually, and it was in that $4.99 bin up at the front,
no,
right
really?
next to Zombieland.
Did
Yeah.
you take a picture of it?
No,
You
like
should have.
I looked through that stuff real quick, and then I saw,
Yeah.
okay, it's that, and then there's like 5 other copies of it buried underneath, and they're all scattered around, and I just didn't feel like digging anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it for 5, but if there was, like the dollars, then yeah, like it looked good enough, it was flashy enough, it was fun enough, and by golly, it was emotional. Thanks for listening. We hope it's been a pleasure. If you like this show and you want to hear more of our wonderful voices on a weekly basis, check out 2 Cents. I'll recap what's happened in film, TV, and tech news.
We're also on the titular Dollar Review Show, a spoiler-free critique of new releases or anything we've discovered on our own, whether that be TV, music, etc.
You can find all of our content at dollarreviews.net. Follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook at Dollar Reviews.
And we're also on Google Play Music, iTunes, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, just about anywhere on the internet with hours of content available to you for free. But for those of you that feel that the show is worth your dollar, you can send us a donation at patreon.com/dollarreviews. Contributions not only earn our undying love, but they also make it possible for us to improve our recording equipment and to give you the highest quality episodes possible. But more importantly, they'd be helping us acquire the content to review. Trips to the multiplex are expensive, and the more donations we receive, the more films we can review for your listening pleasure.
If you listen somewhere we're currently not available, you'd like to contribute some talking points, send a Death to Cinema request, or if you just want to laugh at us, you can do so by reaching out to us on social media or send an email to brian@dollarreviews.net.
Or you can email me as well, steve@dollarreviews.net.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BRYONGILLIS, and now you know how to spell the email too, and also under the same name on the lovely site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate films I'm watching, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at Letterboxd under the same name, where I log everything I watch, and sometimes write brief reviews.
That's it for this week. Until next time, keep the change.